Hey, what's up, good people? Welcome to the Sneaker Drop Talks, powered by the Sneaker Shack. And today, I'm joined by content creator, entrepreneur, and sports broadcaster, Twiggy Moli. So, Twiggy, thanks for joining us today.
You're welcome.
So now, for those who don't know, Twiggy has been in the content creation space for over 10 years, starting in 2014.
Yeah, right.
And the first question I have for you is, what are three things that you would say to yourself before you started in the space?
So obviously at the time when I started content creation, it was a hobby. Instagram was quite new to the South African market and people were just posting and documenting their lives. Had I known then what I know now, that it would be a job, I wouldn't be taking it as a hobby. I would have taken it a bit more seriously. I would have registered my company then, like earlier instead of later, because what I'm finding even 10 years later is that what I am running is a business. So like you have to do your taxes, you have to have all your finances in order, whereas maybe even 5 years ago, I wasn't doing all of that. So it's catching up with me now. And I think maybe the newer content creators are operating in a better way because they know better now, whereas we didn't when we were starting off because it was just a hobby. And the third thing would be maybe finding more of a niche and sticking to it. As we spoke about earlier, I am into a lot of things, from cooking to music to football to travel. I think people that have decided that I'm going to be a football content creator and have stuck with it have managed to get a bit more further than someone like me who's like a scatterbrain, jack of all trades and wants to focus on a million things.
So the importance of like specializing.
Yeah.
But would you say if you knew that before you started, would you have specialized in sports?
I mean, honestly, I don't think I wouldn't have specialized in sports back then because I am from a big sporting family. My family's from Orlando, so like football is part of like our heritage. My mother is a tennis fanatic, but I think at the time I wouldn't have known how to create content around sports, whereas creating content around travel was a bit easier because it was something that I was doing then. And if you think about it now, yes, there's a lot of people who have been going to the stadiums, growing up and all of that, but it's boomed quite a bit in most recent years.
Especially because of exposure.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't think I would have focused on sports then. Yeah.
And we spoke about this earlier. Like someone may see you now and probably think you're self-made.
Yeah.
Like they probably think you went through every phase of like your broadcasting or content creation career, knowing how to navigate through everything.
Yeah.
But that's not the case.
No,
you had people, trusted people, advisors, mentors, people who helped guide you, push you into the right path to make the right decisions.
Yeah.
So touch on the importance of mentorship, especially for people who want to pursue a field in content creation.
I mean, I think mentorship is very important. But what I'm realizing with people that reach out to me, young people that reach out to me that want to be in the industry, is that they look at me and they see that I'm working with a big club, I'm in the sporting world, and they want to do exactly that. So they say to me, how do I get to where you are right now? And they're looking for a mentor in someone like me, whereas my mentor was a rapper. He had nothing to do with football.
And tell them who was your mentor. Who was your mentor?
So Ricky was a very big mentor for me, and he was obviously in the music world, but he had some knowledge and wisdom to share in terms of like working with brands, in terms of utilizing social media. So he was using social media for his music, but the knowledge that I took from him was obviously to use it for my own industry, which was obviously content creation and documenting my life. So sometimes you think you want your mentor to be someone in the specific industry that you want to be in, but it doesn't necessarily have to be, because it could be a business person that's going to help you, set up yourself as a brand into a business. It can be anybody. It doesn't necessarily have to be someone that you specifically look up to and you see the space that then you're like, I want to be you. Like, you're never going to be me. So yeah,
you have to be you.
Exactly.
And just on touching on that, your journey, having learned from Ricky and having learned how to apply some of those principles in your path.
Yeah.
Like how did you take it, you know, when he transitioned? Because it's normal to have someone in your corner when they're around.
Yeah.
You're used to it.
Yeah.
And when they're no longer there, it can have an impact on you.
I didn't think we were going to talk about that, but I didn't take it well only because I was actually away, not necessarily away when it happened, but I was traveling. It was my first trip with Super Sport, and we went for a La Liga experience. And this is my first introduction to the sports world, and it's an international trip, and it was very exciting. And I think it was the morning I landed, super tired, slept all day. I woke up around 4 or 5, and that's when I saw the news. It was very hard to take because I had just entered a new phase of my life, and I just lost someone who had been there for previous eras of my life.
Beginning.
Yeah. So it was hard because now I didn't have someone who's known me from then to share what is now happening and what I'm now getting into. I think obviously he did have an idea that that's the route that I was now taking, but now I had finally gotten my big break. And I know I would have learned so much more from him and how to handle this new part of things, because now it's going to be on TV. Whereas before, I'm just a social media kid, and obviously things are different. Now I'm going to experience a different type of fame, different type of exposure, which I know he would have been so helpful with advising me on how to handle all of that. So it was very difficult, but I think at the time, myself and his family and his friends really rallied behind each other. So I had really great support, and also my own friends and family were just like, dude, he would have been so proud of you. This is amazing. Like, he's kind of set you up. Like, you will be fine. Yeah.
I like that because it also touches on resilience.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't mean that because you're in your passion, circumstances won't happen.
Yeah.
You know, it could happen socially, it could happen even in your craft.
Yeah.
Can you touch on something that really like brought sort of like chaos in your career, and not chaos in a bad way, but it sort of shifted you? And how did you navigate around that? Because I think a lot of people see the final product. They see you working for Betway, working with Sundowns, and they don't know that you getting there has been a culmination of overcoming a lot of challenges.
So I think 2 major things that caused absolute chaos. The first would be COVID, because at the time of COVID, as a content creator, especially one that works outside, I'm working with travel brands, alcohol brands, everything that requires you to be outside.
Leisure.
Yeah, that stopped during 2020. So that meant I was not getting any work. I was unemployed until further notice. Like, no one knew when all the what was it called when we had to be inside? Lockdown, yes. No one knew when lockdown was going to end. So I was depending a lot on my family for small things that I wouldn't comprehend now, like having to ask my cousin for airtime, having to ask aunts for money for groceries.
It was tough.
It was very, very tough. And you don't think about that when you pick a career, right? You don't think that something, like people always say, what would you guys do if Instagram were to be shut down completely? It's done now.
Yeah.
Like, what is your job? You know, you don't think about those things until it happens. So COVID for me was just like, whoa, what the hell? Like, what do I do now? And a lot of people had said like, yeah, now that you've experienced that, now you'll work differently. I won't lie. Like, I'm still an outside creator.
Because that's what you're true to.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So that caused a lot of, was not ready for that. But obviously, I think the lesson from that was financial management. So saving better, having investments, having, that surety that should you stop working,
you're covered.
Exactly. I didn't have savings. Like, I was just living off, like, from check to check and just living my best life, not knowing that this could happen. And then the second thing, which is recent and I don't think people are aware of, is I got let go from my previous employer last year.
Okay.
And I wasn't expecting that. I didn't do anything wrong. But if there's no need for you in the business, like a business is a business, like then they have to let go of people that they don't see value in. So 2025 was a very hard year for me because that was my 9 to 5. That was my check. I was getting paid every month. It was giving me a lot of exposure. And then randomly they're just like, yeah, so we are not renewing your contract. So at that point, I was just like, what is my life now? Like, what am I going to do now? And outsiders, even friends, don't realize that that took a very big toll on me, because it's like, yes, I've got the content creation campaigns coming in, but those can be once every 3 months.
They're not consistent.
It's not consistent like getting a monthly salary. So that I found myself in a bit of like a dark hole. Like, what do I do now? What's my plan? But because I have worked so hard over the years, I managed to sign an ambassadorship with Betway.
Oh, wow.
And Betway only, thank you, they only really sign ambassadors, they only really sign former players or like vets in the broadcasting world as ambassadors. And I thought it was just going to be like a short-term campaign, but they were just like, nope, you bring something different. We want you on as an ambassador. So from then it was just on the up and up. So
oh wow, look at that. There's some good lessons to learn there. In closure, I just want to speak about sort of the direction in which brands govern their processes when it comes to content creators.
Yeah.
Because we're seeing that a lot in terms of brands that are emerging or have emerged are working a lot with content creators, because you bring a user-generated feel to what's being promoted. You bring a relatable and authentic feel. But I want to know from you, having worked with football brands, commercial brands, corporate brands, do you feel like brands are limiting creators in terms of their creative capacity?
I mean, for someone that was doing content creation when it was still a hobby, brands are definitely limiting creators in how, like, our freedom in the content that they're looking for from us.
Yeah.
10 years ago, I worked with a beer brand that literally sent me on an international trip with no deliverables. They said, go have fun. And that was weird for me, because I was like, wait, don't you guys need 2 Instagram stories, 1 reel, whatever? And they were just like, no, our brand doesn't believe in that.
Sure.
But because they know that I am a content creator and creating content comes organic and authentic to me, I created a whole lot of content. And that's exactly what they wanted. No direction, no brief, just have fun. Whereas fast forward to now, you will get a script, you will get a brief, you have to dress a certain way, then you must send it for approval. They're allowed to send it back and say, oh, we didn't really like how you were dressed, we didn't really like this and that. And for me, it has taken the fun out of creating. And obviously, everybody knows brands is just using content creators to like cut corners and spend less. But for me, it's like, if you want something specific, go get a model, go get a production company and create the content that you want. I'm Twiggy. I'm going to create content that speaks to my audience that you as a brand are trying to tap into.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Man, you heard it for yourself. Such a creative feel, an authentic feel, and also we touched a bit on resilience. That's the Sneaker Drop. Peace and love.